Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Velo podcast. My name is Mike, and it's been a busy week. Not for me, but it's been a busy week in the bike world, and we've got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about today. So we're going to get to SRAM winning a battle against the UCI and its proposed maximum gear ratio. Also, you might know about Strava suing Garmin, but did you know that Suunto sued Garmin just like a week before that? I didn't. So Josh is going to explain all of that. Josh has been busy, everybody, because he's also going to tell me about 3T's heavily updated Racemax to Italia, which is a terrible name for a bike. It sounds like a limited edition, track-only, overpriced Ferrari, but the bike itself might be great. Josh is going to tell us all about that. We're also going to get into the UCI Gravel Worlds. Velo's Dave Everett was there. He's got two videos right now. One is covering the tech from the women's race, and one is covering the tech from the men's race. So you can watch those videos on the Velo homepage, or if you go to YouTube, you could also find it there. Whew, lots of stuff, guys. But first, Alvin, did you ride bikes on the weekend, and how did it go?
I'm going to be honest. No, I didn't. I was sick for most of the weekend. And then I had a fantasy basketball draft. I'm a commissioner in a fantasy basketball league, and I take it very seriously. And so
I bet you do.
Actually, you know what? I did go ride bikes this weekend. It was my first time I basically rode a bike for more than an hour in a month, just because of travel and stuff. And I felt awful because I was coming back from a cold and stuff, and it was great.
Man, I've had the kind of cold for a little while that, like, if I lived in a developing country, I might be in trouble, to be honest with you guys. Like, it has put me on my ass.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah, it definitely would have hurt a Victorian child that was unvaccinated, right?
So. Yes, exactly.
Just like your monster intake would.
Yeah. If this was 1800s, I would be dead, everybody. It's that kind of cold. Josh, how are you? Are you healthy? Have you been riding bikes this weekend? How was it?
I am healthy. I rode, so the weather has turned, as you well know. And so I was on Zwift. I did, this is actually kind of a cool thing that I'll just throw a shout out, which is I did this ride. There's a ride that I like to do on Sunday mornings. It's a metric century and on Zwift, and you do it. There's a chase and catch group, so you can be either the slower group or the faster group. I am usually in the slower group. And they have a Zoom call with video if you want it. So I jumped on the video and I tested headphones for the buyer's guides that I will have coming up at some point, and just chatted with people. And it's really fun to see people. And also, it is 3 hours of tempo, according to Garmin, which is quite difficult because there's no coasting.
Catnip for you, dude.
Yes,
I
love
3 hours
of
of tempo.
Yeah,
that sounds
please
fun.
come. Yeah, you should.
How do I get in on that? Do you have to send me an invite, or can I just like show up? Or
you can go in the Zwift app and find it, but I'll just invite you to make your life a little bit easier.
Yeah, no, that would help because I would never find it without that.
Josh, do you want
definitely
do you
no
want
Zoom
us to
camera
share
though.
the link down below? Do you want people to
Sure,
join in?
I can't.
Yeah,
Certainly can't hurt. Come talk. Come talk to me if you want. Although it's not my thing. I'm just one person. But yeah,
we'll put the link down below.
We'll share it. Hopefully, I should put a caveat out. Every now and then it doesn't happen. So if you don't see the link, that's why. But I intend to do it.
What do you talk about in there?
Well, it's a very supportive group. So there was a person that was having some trouble and like holding the group, and we were like, just you got a little bit more. And I remember a bunch of conversations around. There was one climb, and it was like, once it's going to transition from the gravel to the road, and right at that moment, like things are going to get easier. You're almost there, and so there was a lot of that. The guys mostly know each other, so they one guy is dating, and he's like, I went on a date, and this is how it went, and
we talked about it.
Yeah, just like a group ride. We talked about headphones too, because I was like, hey, can you hear me? Like, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Because I'm that annoying guy, but
Sounds
a
little bit too earnest to me.
It sounds like a positive place to ride a bike.
It really is. It's a good community if you want to feel community, what's great about riding virtually is you can show up anywhere where you are, and you actually don't have to. Now, most of these people wanted to stay together, but you don't have to. Nothing says it's not like a group ride where if you're behind, you can't talk to everybody. You can still talk to everybody. So if you want to just show up, there's also a local group that that rides online that I ride with sometimes too, and we just do all different things. So we're not even necessarily all on Zwift, and we just chat about whatever.
Huh. I had to scrape ice off the window of my car this morning, so that sounds like something that I need to be a part of.
Yeah, it's great.
So-
I'll invite.
Send me that invite.
I've been telling you we need to race together, not against each other, with each other. That's a slightly different thing. But
It is. It's a very
we
different
could
thing.
do some race tactics. I've always wanted to try this out. I've been trying to get people to do it with me for years.
In the group ride,
Yeah.
dude, where everyone's being earnest.
Yeah, let's smash it.
Not in the group ride where everyone's being earnest.
See?
In an actual race.
Josh's earnest group ride.
In the group ride, if you
not your
want
ride.
to smash it like that, when people fall off the back, if they're quick about it, and they can ask for help, and then people will drop back and pull them forward, with the draft. And that's a pretty intense effort if you want to, in the mile 45, and someone's like, I'm 30 seconds back. I'm 60 seconds back. So then you drop back and you just put in a massive effort, VO2 max, to get them back to the group.
I need this in my life, for sure.
Yeah, it's cool.
We need to do this. Let's ride bikes indoor this week together, Josh.
I love it.
Maybe next podcast, we'll report back how it went.
Yeah, I love it.
I'll be at Big Sugar. Have fun, guys.
Hate. Just so much hate. Big Sugar's so nice right now.
Guys, we got to get into some news. And the first thing is we have to talk about SRAM and the UCI. So a podcast or two ago, I don't exactly remember, we explained why SRAM was taking legal action against the UCI and the gearing limit proposal, and especially how the UCI went public with it. So Josh, can you give me before we get into this, can you give me a 2-minute refresher on that? What was the intent of the gearing limit test, and why was SRAM ticked off about it? 2 minutes, and then we'll get into the rest of it.
And go.
Timer starts now. Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing was the stated reasoning from the UCI was it's all about safety. They're looking to slow people down. So they introduced this maximum gearing limit. And the problem with it, and the reason that Zwift the reason that SRAM became involved in the whole thing is that it was based around, it was kind of an inherent bias situation, I think, where they were like, well, they just thought of the gearing of Shimano, and then they set a gearing limit of 5411, which you can agree or disagree. It doesn't really matter. Will that actually work? I don't know. It doesn't matter. But SRAM was like, well, in order to get to that gearing, because we use a 10-tooth cog, that means our riders are at a disadvantage. And not only that, the way that they brought the legal proceedings against the UCI is they said that it creates a competitive disadvantage for them to have the UCI essentially saying that they're unsafe. And that was sort of the focus for this.
Exactly. Okay, so what has changed now? What is the update about this?
Yeah, the SRAM won. I wrote an article that does not quite say that because it is technically provisional. It's the BCA, it's the Belgian Competition Authority, and it's competition not as in bike racing, but as in business. This is about antitrust type stuff, and they basically said that the UCI must acknowledge that they made this ruling and that they must immediately stop all testing, and that there could be no more testing going forward, and the thing, and again, this is provisional in theory. The BCA could come back and make a different ruling, but I can't imagine that that's going to happen.
Yeah, from SRAM's point of view, it's not just, as you mentioned there, it's not just the competition on the road. It's not just that their sponsored racers would have to change gearing or anything like that. There's a much bigger picture here. And the issue there, it sounds like, Josh, is the UCI said this thing, and like publicly, it means that SRAM's drivetrains are or were going to be illegal-ish.
Yes. I mean, it sort of put this idea into consumer minds, so, with SRAM claims that their drivetrains are somehow unsafe. And second, why would you buy the thing that's the UCI says is unsafe? And so SRAM said, yeah, that doesn't fly with us. And the BCA seems to have agreed.
Yeah.
I guess everyone was wrong about the 10 tooth. It's too inefficient. That's what they were trying to defend. That's the thing. They were trying to defend that, and they weren't trying to defend the real issues, which is like road furniture in the middle of nowhere and poorly planned like routes and like downhill finishes and stuff like that. It's not the sprint gear that's the problem. Like,
yeah, exactly. They're trying to slow the riders down, and they're trying to make it safer. And the UCI the idea is to limit the gearing ratio. But like Alvin, like you said, like, I think the issue is like traffic islands and road signs that riders don't see, and like sharp turns where the group is huge, and poor planning and stuff like that. It's not, a couple extra feet of rollout or whatever it might be. It's, anyways.
Yeah, I don't know. I do want to mention there that I'm not the only person who have believed that. We have comments now on the story. There was some conversation, and I forgot exactly who said that, but Rick McLaughlin. Shout out Rick, whoever that is.
Shout out Rick.
Yeah.
And I will just say, I just want to, as Alvin highlights, that we do have comments on our stories now on the Velo homepage, which is amazing. And I do pay attention to those, and we'll try to answer you. I will not guarantee that I will, but if you want to ask me a question, I do my best.
Guys, the UCI responded with an amazing quote. Josh, it's in your article. I'm going to read some of it out here. So the UCI responded to them losing this legal action thing, or whatever you want to call it. And they say, the UCI, the organization deeply regrets that rider safety does not appear to be a shared objective with those who challenged the implementation of the maximum gearing test protocol before the said authority. However, the UCI will continue to act in the interests of the safety of the riders, other members of the peloton, and spectators. I understand obviously what they're saying, but it seems like they're saying that they believe that if they were able to limit the gearing, it would solve all these issues, and all they care about is rider safety. But I don't know. It just seems like conflicting messages between like how we see these races play out and some of the crashes that we see, and this message and the gearing. It just seems like a gong show.
This is just here's how you be passive aggressive in a press release. But also, to your point, it just doesn't matter. The disconnect here is not it's not about the safety or not safety. I mean, obviously, the UCI is going to say this, SRAM is going to say a different thing. But what you're saying, and I think it's like the UCI just seems to be completely clueless on this. Like, you can't, don't gaslight us. We watch the races. We see what happens. It's not gearing. That's not going to fix it. What are you talking about, UCI?
Yeah, no, exactly. I'll always be a fan of people trying to make it safer, of course. But I think at the end of the day, like, you got 170 people like ramped up, they're excited, they're racing, and it's just dangerous sport. And like the very large majority of these crashes are the racer's fault, and it might be because they didn't see the sign or the curb or whatever, because it wasn't, maybe the sign should have been removed, or maybe there should have been some tape or some more like something that would let them see that better. But yeah, speed, you could give these guys a 20-tooth chainring, and the gearing would be super easy, and they would be spinning at 200 RPM, and there would still be crashes at 12 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
100%.
I would love to see, if it's the UCI or if it's someone else, I don't have the bandwidth to do this, so free idea to you guys, I guess, Josh and Levy. I would love to see like a compendium of all the crashes this year and a analysis of why they happened, because I'm sure it's not because of that 5410. Like, it's not limiting the gearing. When someone's going into that sprint gear, there is like the speed differentials aren't that huge unless someone's just like dawdling along, or if a bystander happens to be on course or something like that. Like the accidents tend to happen because speed differentials change, or because there's a difference in speed differential. Like that's not a gearing thing. It just isn't.
Yep. Yep.
So
it's a factor, but I think that there's a much bigger thing going on, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see where this goes. But I side with SRAM on this one, not our friends at the UCI, which is probably not surprising.
It was delightfully passive aggressive, though.
Yeah,
we're deeply surprised that people are so mad about this, and we express deep regret, and we can't believe that we're just trying to look out for everyone, and people are pissed about it. Like,
yeah.
Also, to be clear,
Yeah.
SRAM isn't against. I can't put words in their mouth. I don't work for them, but they're not saying they're against slowing down the peloton in some way. They're saying you can't create a rule that only we can't meet. Like, you have to make something that's the bottom line. It has to be fair for everybody if you're gonna slow down the peloton in some way with a tech rule.
Yeah.
Can I posit a question really quick? I know that we want to move on, but I do want to posit a question. Yeah. If you are not a road cycling fan or road racing fan, should you care about this, and why? I have my thoughts, but I'm curious what you guys think. Should you even care about this?
I mean, should I just jump in and answer? Yeah, you absolutely should, because this is the same thing I talk about all the time with the outsized effect of UCI rules, which is my classic example is, why are there so many aero bikes versus climbing bikes out on the market? And it's because there's a lower limit to UCI weight. So therefore, brands hit that weight and that's it. And if you got rid of that, and that means that you could care less about UCI rules, but you walk into the bike shop and there's a bunch of bikes that are only getting down to the UCI limit, because they can't market them as effectively. They can't be raced. So it really affects your ability to buy things. And we want competition, and the more competition, the better for the consumer. And this would have limited competition. I mean, that's exactly what the BCA is saying.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
yeah, that's
speaking of competition, let's learn about more lawsuits. Busy week.
Yeah.
Josh, I thought Strava was suing Garmin, but Suunto is as well. Are the two cases connected in either way? What's going on here with Garmin? Why is everybody suing Garmin? Why are they picking on him? Are they picking on him?
Well, Suunto, here's the thing. What Suunto's suing about is a very classic patent dispute. This is like, Suunto's stating, you are infringing on our patents. Here they are. I don't actually have them listed in front of me, but they're kind of obscure. They're like antenna designs and things like that. But that's what patents are, right? It's some little thing, and there's 5 of them, and they're saying, you're infringing on our patents, and basically we want money. You have to pay licenses if you're going to do that. And this is, when you think about patent disputes, this is what they generally are. This is like, often you never hear about them. They're just some sort of kind of backroom dealing, and they are often a point of like back and forth with companies. I have this patent, you have that patent. We're going to both sue. And we're actually going to just come to an agreement, and we could have maybe just talked this out in the boardroom, but instead we're going to force the issue.
Just a friendly sue.
Yeah, we're going to just a friendly sue, and that's all fine. But the article that I wrote about this was this it's the contrast to what you see Strava doing, which is Strava like also suing for kind of the same reason. They're saying, we have these patents, you're infringing on these patents, and we want to have a discussion. We want to force you to come to the table to make agreements on other things we care about, because we don't actually care that you're using these patents. But rather than just doing that, like Suunto has done, they're posting in Reddit forums and going like, oh no, Garmin's the bad guy, and like there's all this drama, and
How's that
you
working out
just
for them?
yeah, everyone hates Strava is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Like just hate for Strava. And I gotta say, I kind of agree.
Yeah, there's some data concerns there with Strava and Garmin, I think, is the issue, isn't it? Like Strava wants to do stuff with the data, and I don't know. What is all
So
that about?
the history of this is that not so long ago, November 2024, actually, November 2024, Strava put out because hold on, I'm gonna break my sentence. Let me restart that conversation, which is back in the day of Strava, what was Strava about? It was about leaderboards. It eventually became a little bit about a social network. And now I would say that is the main thing of what Strava is. However, it was also about a data hub. You knew that if you got your data to Strava somehow, you could get it anywhere. Well,
Yeah.
then, November 2024, Strava says, everybody has 30 days to change. You are no longer allowed to do anything with the data that comes from Strava. We own it. And users said, do you really own it? Because I'm pretty sure my Garmin uploaded it and I recorded it.
Yeah.
And no one was happy about this, but it is what it is. So then now a year later, Strava says, we won't like we won't display Garmin's logo on the maps that come from Garmin. And users are supposed to pretend that this history didn't just happen where Strava claimed ownership of your data. And just like the UCI in a classic passive aggressive thing, they're like, oh no, this is about your ownership of your data and how we want to protect that for you. And you go like, really? That doesn't seem like what's happening here.
Interesting. Okay. My first question would be, I have a 7-year-old Garmin 1030 something Edge Plus or something. It's like missing buttons and stuff. I need a new computer. If I was to go out and buy one of those new 1050 Solars, they're friggin' expensive.
There's no
Is
1050
there
solar, just for everyone listening.
whatever it is, just too many numbers, Jesus. But if I'm going to go out and buy a new Garmin computer, as a consumer, should I be concerned about that computer not talking to another program or it losing any features? Is there any concern that I should have?
Well, I would think, in my view of what has happened since November 2024, I don't understand. Strava shot themselves in the foot because they used to be the middle of the data pipeline. You would take whatever computer you had, you would put it on Strava, and then you would move it to whatever service you actually cared about. Strava was
Yeah.
the social network. You could race for the segments, but like if you wanted to analyze your data, you move that data somewhere else. Well, now what happened was that all they did was instead of being in the middle, they're now an endpoint. So now you take your Garmin and you export to everywhere. You send it to Map My Ride, you send it to Strava, you send it to some of the more data analytics ones. There's that AI one that I reviewed last year. Right? You just send it to these places. And so do you actually need Strava?
There's no world where I don't use Strava, though. Like, I'm so invested in it.
For what?
I mean, a decade of rides are on there and
Yeah.
more than that. And like all my data and like all this stuff. And
So you can export all that data for one. And
But how many people are going to do that? I think I'm with Levy on this one. I'm not entirely sure yet, just because I have so much of my ride data on there of like just memories of everything I've done. I've like logged like bike reviews. I have like in my private little notes, I have notes on each bike. Like
all your photos of all your
yeah.
trips.
Yeah, all the photos. Like,
if you really think about that, is all of that data really with Strava? Because my data is on Google Photos. It's on other places where I've collected the data, and the really old data that's only on Strava. I don't know that I actually care that much, if I'm being honest.
but it's all organized in a cute little way such that like everything is like makes sense together.
I know that when my ride is done, I could go and sit on the toilet and scroll through the metrics, and I know where everything is, and I can compare it to other rides. And I feel like Strava has a lot of us captured for better or worse, and I have a heart. I don't want, man.
I love this conversation. But
Hey,
did
when
you
that
know,
changed-
Mr. Garmin user, look at Garmin Connect. You have better
Ah.
data.
All
It's
the
not
information.
same. You can't go there and give me a thumbs up or something.
I actually could, to be honest.
Okay.
Although no one uses that.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, I understand why Strava is being this way, because I think they realize that they have people like Levy and frankly kind of like myself, where they're like, they scoff at the idea of like, oh, exporting all my data and moving to a different platform or putting it into buckets where I have to like build my own thing. Like, it's the same thing as like, people don't want to be on Spotify anymore because they have a decade's worth of playlists and everything else. Sure, they could export to Tidal or a platform that like pays artists more. That's a pain in the butt. Like, and they've got you in. Like, they've got your.
It's the network effect. They're a social
Yeah.
network, and that is very strong. But do you know that what other social networks do you pay for? And would you?
Well,
What if Instagram
to be
was
fair,
like-
you pay for Instagram, but you don't pay with your own money. You pay with your data.
I pay with my time and my data.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Strava's saying we own your data, and you're gonna have to pay us every month. And
Yeah, I don't really like that.
You guys are like, oh yeah, that's cool. I'm
When you
here
say it
for
like that, when you put it like that, I don't like it. But Training Peaks, like my data also goes to Training Peaks, but like I don't go to Training Peaks and like scroll around and see what people are doing and talk shit on Training Peaks. That's what Strava is for. And
Yeah, it's a social network. It is absolutely, that is really strong, and it is the one thing that they really have. But just, you gotta, I ask that people be at least aware of that. And there are also people, I have a good friend, Christian, who absolutely despises the social media aspect of Strava, and he has stopped using it for that reason. And there are a lot of people who are like, it's bad for my mental health to like look at Strava.
I will agree. Like if I've been sick for the last week, I'll delete Strava so I don't see what other people are doing. And I don't think that's a crazy thing to be doing. I think that's like, if that's what you should do, then you should do it. I don't use any other social media because it's fucking terrible and nobody should use it. It's terrible. Bottom line, there's good things about social media, but like overall, it's a very, very, very bad thing. But I don't see Strava in the same way, because when I'm on Strava, it's like we're talking about our rides, and even the shit talk is encouraging. It's not like I'm not posting a photo that nobody should give a single shit about my dinner or my trip, or I found this or I found that. It's, I went on this ride, I post it, and a couple people say, "Good ride, Mike," or "Oh man, that's awesome," and that makes me feel good, which I guess is the same thing as social media, but it's sort of like under a more positive umbrella. Do you know what I mean? It's not just Instagram or Facebook.
It has focused the conversation, and it can be more positive. And I guess if you're willing to pay for that, but you could also just turn that off and not have a social network.
Yeah, social media is a psyop, 100%. It's a psyop, but I would like to think that Strava isn't, I guess is my point.
Oh yeah, let me just dissuade you from that. You are
No, stop.
I'll be very clear right now that you're wrong. So
yeah, I know.
If that's the way you're thinking about it, Strava is the evil empire, just like any of the others. And I don't even mean that. That's not even trying to be disparaging to Strava. That's just like they're out to get theirs. And my bigger argument to sort of piggyback on that would be that I would like to see Strava stay in their lane. Like, they have a cool thing. Like, I think it's worthwhile to have that positive social network. I also think it's a lot of fun to race for the segments. And they introduced the what is it, where you've done it the most? Like, that stuff's cool. Just enjoy that and let people like move their data around. You don't own it.
I don't think it's fair of you to lump Strava in with normal social media. Like, Instagram is designed to trap you and to keep you there in the same way that like a bag of chips or a fizzy pop is designed to get you. It's literally a product made to grab you and keep your time there. Where
Mike,
Strava,
I don't want to break things for you, but Strava is like that.
no, but it
Let him
isn't.
finish.
It
Let him
isn't
finish.
like that. It isn't like that though. It isn't like I go for my ride and I upload my ride, and when I'm on Strava, like after my ride, I will scroll through Strava and I will look at my ride or I'll look at other people's rides, and then I'm done. It's not like I'm not using Strava in the same way that a lot of people use Instagram, which is super unhealthy no matter how you use it. Where am I being up on my high horse here, Elvin? Am I my high horse?
I don't know. I am kind of I think I'm of two minds of this. Just because I think that if Strava found a way to be able to like utilize our data and find a way to like turn it into trying to sell you sweatpants like it does on Instagram or something like that, I think they would. Why wouldn't they? Like this is
Yeah,
the
of course.
society in
They are
which we
trying
live.
to do that right
they're
now.
not.
That's what this is about.
Yeah, but they're not
That's
currently.
what this is about.
It's kind of, I mean, like some parts of me yearn for like the ye olden days of Instagram before Facebook bought it over, where it was just a place where I could like, it was a suppository for cool photos in much the same way that like Visco was, I guess, many years ago. And similarly, like I use Strava as a repository for my rides, but if it becomes more than that, like I don't want to keep using it. Long story short, I'm surprised that Strava is on the offensive right now, because I would think that they would want as much people's data as possible, and so they'd want the devices, the companies that like bring in that
Yeah.
data, and that they
Good
could be a little bit
gracious.
more covert about it. I suppose.
This is
Yeah.
I see this is typical like tech company short term, like screw people at every opportunity. Like just at every point in the like just don't allow usefulness. Instead, try to monetize and charge every single thing. You think they're not trying to sell you sweatpants? Come on. That's exactly
They're
what this
not.
is about.
No,
They
no,
are
no.
going
Like,
to. They're going IPO right now.
Fuck. Let's not go. Let's not talk about that. I think the difference here, though, is like Strava provides a service that right now, currently, I'm still okay with paying money for. You know,
Which is fair.
Instagram, you could argue that it provides a service. It's certainly not free, but like Instagram is about stealing your time and narcissism and like narrative control and like all of these things. Strava's just biking and exercising. You know what I mean? Like Strava is not trying to influence you in any way, where these other social networks are.
Do you know that people pay? There's a thing where people pay people to do workouts for them and upload to their Strava.
What?
Yeah. You haven't seen this, Levy?
What?
Yeah, it's like people, like you can pay someone to run a specific route for you or run a marathon for you, so you can say that you ran the marathon, and then you have the data
so
on
that it goes up
Strava.
on Strava.
They'll send
there's cheaters everywhere.
the device, often a Garmin, to this person to go do the event, and then they have the event on the person who paid for Strava. I don't know. I bringing this back together. I think it's weird that Strava's doing this. It's weird that Strava's doing this, and I would expect them to tone it down sooner rather than later.
Well, that's what you'd expect, except we can look at the recent history, and they have not. They have only ratcheted it up.
But in recent history, they've gotten a huge blowback. But
that already happened. It happened
Reddit
in
post,
November.
There's just comment after comment
Yeah.
of people just being like, wow, this sucks. Like, this is dumb. Or I'm going to cancel my premium membership or something like that. Like,
but that's exactly what happened in November 2024. And here we are a year later, and they're just like doing the exact same thing. And I guarantee you guys, listeners, mark this down. They will do it again, and everyone will complain, and no one will leave, and exactly the same thing will happen over and over again.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Let's talk about bikes. Let's talk about bikes. We got a new bike here, straight from Italy. 3T Racemax 2 Italia. Quite the name. But before we get into this thing, we have to shout out the original Exploro, Josh. Aside from having the best name, I think Explorer is an amazing name for a gravel bike. Back in the day, it was sort of like it was an edge pusher in a way. It had room for like big-ish tires and had a arrow-ish shape. So I would argue that original Explorer was sort of important, and we've had 3 or 4 versions of it since then, and now we have this thing, Josh. So tell me about the Racemax.
So they were the first, and Alvin, correct me if I'm wrong, but they were the first aero gravel bike and the first one to use a dropped chainstay to fit big 650B tires. That was like, they changed the industry when they did that. That's Vrooman from Velo came over, did 3T, and he was like, here's this thing. And it wasn't just aero-ish. That was like, now when you think back on that, on just gravel in general, it all just like, oh, that's just how it is. It wasn't like that before then. And he came and he said, this is aero, and what was it? Aero matter. There was a whole thing about aero matters even when you're slow, and people just arguing about like, no, I'm only
Marketing.
going 15 miles an hour. It doesn't matter. That's not irrelevant. And now we just take it for granted. And it was because of this bike.
Yeah, I mean, I was working in a bike shop that sold both of those drop chainstay bikes, the 3T Exploro and the Open Up, which was a similar bike, I suppose.
Both from Vrooman, and
yeah,
I forget
both
how they
Vrooman
connected
bikes.
exactly.
And they
Yeah.
like that Open Up like only recently got updated. The basic geometry of that bike has stuck around since 2016 or 2015 because it was so good at what it does. And so anyways, I'm glad you brought that up, Levy, because I'm not sure if the Exploro is a progenitor of the modern racy gravel bike, but it's certainly like one of the first that you can point at. You're like, okay, aero, okay, big tire clearance, yeah, and road geometry.
And a lot of those things that they introduced in terms of aero really haven't changed for this bike. I mean, the big thing is the down tube is absolutely massive. It's like 75 millimeters or something. It starts out massive at the head tube, and then it flares out further to protect the water bottles from the wind. And yeah, it's just, this thing is crazy. And now the modern one has 2 drop chainstays, so it will fit. Now they say 51 millimeter width as measured, WAM.
Yeah,
yeah, it's WAM, but this is a lot of like overcomplicated BS. It's a 50.
I'm a fan of width as measured. I should mention width is measured and radius is measured. WAM and RAM. I'm a fan. No one else has really adopted it besides. Yeah.
I think that's all silly. All this all these companies should just say our bike fits a 55 or a 57 or 60.
Levy, do you understand why they're doing that though?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I'll
explain it. they're doing it because like you have like the hot patch on the tire that says 55 millimeters, but if it's on a freaking 30 mil internal rim width, it's going to fit differently than a 21. So the idea is that here's this bike. If you have a 48 mil tire that happens to be on a 29 mil internal rim width, that's going to have a different width as measured than it would on a 23 mil internal. And so we are telling you now that this bike will fit a 51 width as measured, and then you have to figure out your tire from there. Which, to Pirelli's credit, if you go on the back of the box of their tires, it'll tell you this is the width is measured and the radius is measured on different internal rim widths. So that's where it works.
Yeah. Those are all really good things. I think my issue is like, I went back and looked at the different generations of this bike, and it seems like every one of them got an extra 1.5 or 2 millimeters of tire clearance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, just like these little baby steps. And I realize that I'm looking at this from a mountain biker's perspective, but hey guys, I know where this is going. 3T, just make, all these bikes are coming out with 50 mil tire clearance, 51 or whatever it is. And like, we're going to get to a point where all of these bikes can fit a 2.2 and they'll be aero and they'll figure it out and like whatever, all these things. And we're just taking like little steps to get there. But I mean, this does look like a sick bike and it can fit big big tires. So that is a good thing. What else?
The reason that they've done that is because they don't want to make the chainstay long. So
Well, they should be longer.
Well, they also
It was
All these bikes need to be
415.
longer.
Yeah. They
It
also
was
have-
415.
Go ahead.
It was 415. Then it went to 418. Now it's 420. They don't want to make it longer.
420.
Blaze it. So, I mean, Levy, they also have the 3T Extrema, which we did a review on. That fits at 2.25.
Yeah, now we're talking.
Yeah,
So
that's pretty good. But
I
that bike
guess-
I thought was compromised, unfortunately, for other reasons. But
Yeah, and that is a good point, because that means that this bike doesn't need to make some compromises to fit those bigger tires, because they do have the other bike, to be fair.
I don't think you should discount the chainstay length thing. This is about making like a fast. It's a race bike, and they want a short chainstay. And yeah,
But if the chainstay was 5 millimeters longer, the bike is going to feel better. It's not going to be any slower. The people riding it are going to have more confidence. It's these little steps that people are taking, and they're looking at, their road bike geometry, and they're thinking they want like this so-called like nimble gravel bike. And I'm probably talking out my ass here, but like, just make the chainstays 5 mils longer. The bike will handle way better, and it will still be sporty as hell. Do you disagree, or?
yes, I disagree.
Okay.
short
Good.
chainstay bike. If they feel amazing. There's the Argonaut, which is I forget the name of their gravel bike, but it's
GR1,
super
right?
short. Yeah, the GR1, super short. It's one of my favorite gravel bikes I've ever ridden. Really short chainstay, and then slack out in the front. And yeah, I mean, I guess it just goes back to like, just get a mountain bike if you want to do mountain bike things.
No, just add 5 mils and everything will be fine, everybody. But we'll get there. We'll revisit this in a couple of years, I think.
Stigmata is 423. Stigmata chainstay
Yeah.
length is 423. That's across all sizes, which I have another thing about. I think chainstay lengths need to grow with the size of the bike. But yeah, but I think the short chainstay of that is part of why that bike is really fun to ride.
Yeah.
Okay.
Short.
Fair
We
enough.
want short chainstays.
I think
Now,
you
you're
guys would
not-
have just
you're
as
not-
much fun on 425, but
Well, it depends on what you're doing. That's what it comes down to.
Okay, I'm not going to quibble over 5 mil. I'm not going to quibble over
Yeah.
5 mil. Like 10 or 20, like that is a big thing. But short chainstays in general, if they went to 425 and they fit a slightly wider tire, I think that would have been good. Like, or added a little bit tire clearance. Sorry to flip flop here.
It's all right. As we're complaining about the short chainstay and whatever, I see in the notes here that they also had a steeper head angle, which is absolutely true. They went from 70 points, no, to the other way, 71. Anyway, they went steeper, and the reason for that is aero. And this is just like the Colnago Y1RS. They want to tuck that wheel up into the down tube, and there's now a cutout in the down tube a little bit. Now I will say I have toe overlap on this bike. I don't know if I would have on the old ones. I have toe overlap on most racy gravel bikes in a 54. So it's sort of a novelty to me when I don't have toe overlap. But that'll be a thing people don't like necessarily.
looking in from the outside, it looks like they sacrificed handling and confidence for aero gains to get that tire tucked up there. It went from 70.7 to 71.5, almost a full degree steeper.
That is
I think
definitely a thing. They've said that they wanted the tire close in the past.
Yeah.
They've said that with past Extrema or Exploros and Racemaxes.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah,
Anyways,
I mean,
there's more fork offset and more BB drop as well too. So those are good.
Yeah, they made it. I mean, it's closer to a road bike is what it comes down to. That's what this is all about.
Yeah.
And if you're out there looking for a slacked out mountain bike, gravel bike hybrid thing, then
I'm not.
This isn't the bike for you.
I just don't think that people need to be scared. I think that you're not going to go slower. And this is a whole other discussion. We've got other things to talk about. And I want to know about, you've been actually riding this bike, so I do want to know about that as well. But I think when I see people riding gravel bikes, a lot of times people are nervous because gravel bikes are nervous and sketchy in general a lot of times. And to make a bike that is possibly, I haven't ridden it, but possibly a bit more nervous for aero gains seems counterintuitive to me. Obviously, I have not ridden the bike. Josh has, though.
I mean, I crashed it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
yes.
you can tell me if I'm wrong, Josh. Like, I look at the geometry chart. I like did a quick math thing to figure out what the trail figures were across sizes. This is a road bike. It's a road bike that fits a 50.
Lord.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, it's a road bike.
Like the reach and
Just
stack
yeah.
numbers. Like I don't know. Like the stack's a little bit taller, but like the handling geometry.
I mean, it's a
is
shorter
not
reach,
befitting.
higher stack. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think you nailed it, Alvin. I mean, I agree with you completely. But this is the conversation here. That's what I want in a road bike or in a gravel bike. My favorite gravel bike is the Envy Mog. So, which is again another like almost road bike. And this is a lot like that. It's like, just give me a road bike with 50s.
Is that how it rides?
Yeah. I feel like I could very easily. So I was a little worried, like when I was doing the initial review, and I haven't finished the final review yet, as I'm writing that, or as I'm saying this, but I was a little worried that it pigeonholes itself a little bit. Like it's not. There's no mounts on it really. There's even aero covers for the brake mounts and things like that. So this is really, it's pigeonholed. This is not a gravel bike you can do a bunch on. The Mog has mounts on the fork, and there's a bunch of mounts, and you can do more with it. And this one is not really that. And at first I was like, oh, it's sort of like limited. But I think you just have to think. You have to switch how you think about it. It's not so much. It's limited if you think about it in the realm of gravel bikes. But if you instead flip it to the realm of all road bikes, well, now you've got tons of usability. You can make this a road bike. You could make this a gravel bike. You could make this, anywhere in that spectrum. Well, now you've got a bunch of usability.
Yeah, or if your
That
gravel
makes a lot of
rides
sense.
are like pretty smooth and fast, like that's where this goes well. You don't need something that's like long and slack for a dirt
I mean, I
road.
think this would be amazing at Big Sugar. You've
I have
ridden
no
Big
idea. I haven't
Sugar.
ridden there. TBD. I'll
Wait.
let you know next week.
Oh, that's right. Okay. So I rode the BMC Aero gravel bike when it launched.
Which is very different front end
Caius.
geometry, mind you, than this bike.
Yeah, but it's another fast, like, that's the one that runs, 36 bars? My God, I love those
36 in the
bars.
tops, 42 drops. But it's the front center lengths are way longer on that bike than this is.
Yeah. But I think this bike would be amazing at Big Sugar. There's like nothing super technical, and there's not like a ton of climbing. And what I really remember about Big Sugar is you get through the mountains and then you get into the back of the race, and there's just like farmlands into the wind, and you just tuck in. And in my traditional fashion of how I tend to ride, I was like not lighting any fires through the mountains really. And there's like, I won't call them technical, but there's descents through there that are rutted and things, and I'm like taking my time, and that's not where my strong point is. But then we get into that farmland when you're just in the wind, and I suddenly had a train behind me. Everybody's just like, and I'm just crushing watts into the wind, and I love it. I absolutely love it, and I would love to do that on this bike.
Who wouldn't want to hop behind Mr. Tempo?
Pull me home, Josh. Pull me home.
People, when it's like mile 80 or mile 150, and people are like, oh God, I can't pedal anymore. And often in events, you've gotten through most of the climbing, and that's where I'm like, yeah, hop on the wheel here, because I got all the energy. Let's do this.
Levy, I just want to mention I won't be able to ride it for a little bit, but I did finally get the Trek checkout. And I've got that, and I've got the Ventum GS1 here, which is very much in the same like realm of this bike as like go fast.
Yeah.
Roadie. We're going to be doing some
They
time
couldn't
tests.
be more different, those two.
Yeah, we're going to be doing some time tests. I'm very curious to see what happens there.
Interesting. Send me. Yeah, I want to see some photos of that checkout. It looks like quite an interesting bike.
Yeah, I'm building it later today, so I'll let you know.
That's probably not a bike for Josh.
Here's the thing. When I look at a bike like that, I'm like, oh, this is the coolest thing ever. Like, you could do so much with that. Like, I would love to ride across a continent on that bike. Except
do it.
I don't actually. Yeah, let's do it. Except I don't actually get to ride across a continent on any bike, and so the riding that I actually do is fast gravel. There's the Gorge gravel grinder near me, out an hour and a half from me. There, I've done Big Sugar. All these races where the Tracka 360 I did. Those would be another great place to use this bike. Just like, I would love to use the bike in these locations.
Yeah. Can go, Levy.
I was just gonna ask, just before we move on, I want to know about your crash on the 3T. What happened?
Yeah, it was a silly thing.
Yes. That's good that it was silly and not serious.
Oh yeah, so I didn't hurt anything, although I did break the integrated light on the bike, but that was mostly because I was doing stupid
Big jumps or
tech reviewer things. So it has an integrated light, and it's like magnets on, and there's this, like, you twist it, and then I also had a radar light from Lesign that I was testing, and so I put it over the top of that light, and when I crashed, the light that was over the top sort of wrenched on the light that was underneath, and it just snapped this little plastic piece. No big deal. That was the only thing that happened. No, oh, and I need a new helmet because I did hit a tree, but my head is fine. No big deal. So
tell
here's
me
what
about
happened.
the crash. Yeah.
Yeah, so I had been recording footage in Forest Park, which is on the west side of Portland, and I had left without my little drone from Hover Air because I thought it's going to rain. And instead was beautiful. So I finished up that. I went back across the other side of town, picked up the drone, went to Pal Butte, and I haven't ridden at Pal Butte in a while. So I did the climb. It's like sort of smooth mountain bikey trails. You go up to the top, and then there's this great descent that it's not very long or anything, but it looks pretty. It's like single track, but like not like, I think it used to be a road kind of thing. And it's fast, and it just builds your confidence as you're going, because you're like, oh, I can take this, I can take this. And if I had remembered,
Yeah.
if I had remembered, there is one little, like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like I want to say it's a culvert, but it's not a culvert. It's just a spot where the water has cut a it's not very deep, but it's very, like, steep, cut into the path. And so you're going along and you're going fast, and then all of a sudden there's this thing, and I should have bunny hopped it, but I wasn't in that spot. I didn't do it, and so I hit it. I bounced a little bit, and I almost held it together, but I ended up. I think what happened is I was filming while this happened. I had a chesty on,
Perfect.
and I twisted the front wheel too much, I think is what happened, and I low-sided. And the way the actual crash happened, like, I hit the ground sort of on my shin first and almost sitting, which is ideal, right? Nothing hurt.
Mhm.
Also, it's soft because it's been raining, and, like, it's soft dirt. And but my upper body was still sort of moving, and that's where I hit the tree. I sort of glanced off the tree and wrenched my shoulder a little bit just from putting my hand out. But nothing bad, nothing, no big deal. And I was like, oh, this is silly.
You know, when I was mountain biking all the time, like if I do 10 mountain bike rides, I might crash 5 times, maybe 7 times.
That makes
You
me
know?
feel better.
Yeah, well, it's a very different thing. The crashes you have, and they're like, a lot of times they're like funny and you're laughing. It's not all the time, trust me.
Yeah.
But like, it's you're trying things, and the surface is changing more, and it's looser, and your speeds are slower. But it's a very different thing. I would say I crash on my gravel bike once a year, and it's bad. It's not good.
Yeah, this
Usually
was
it's really
thankfully
good.
not a bad crash. I was able to laugh about it. Bike, there's not a scratch on the bike other than the light thing that you can just replace.
Do you think you wouldn't have crashed if the bike was slacker and had longer chainstays?
Well, so I did think about this. So if you remember when I reviewed the Specialized, with the head tube with
Catch.
suspension thing,
Yeah, feature shot.
Yeah, when I had the Future Shock. So I was going down a descent on that when it was a similar thing where the descent was feeling pretty good, and I'm like, oh, this is, and I kept going faster and faster, and then I hit some washboards. That's the word I'm looking for. Hit some washboards, and the washboards pretty quickly went from like, oh, this is really cool. This Future Shock is like really working well on these washboards to, oh my god, these are holes.
Yeah.
And I kind of got bounced out, and I did save that time. I don't know if I would have saved it with the Future Shock, but I might have.
I mean, think about what happened. You had that culvert or that dip.
Yeah,
If you had something that could compress further into there and keep traction on your tires,
it very well
could
might
that
have.
have changed things? I'm talking about suspension, folks.
Yes.
I'm talking about suspension. Before we move on, because I think you're probably ready to move on, Levy, I just want to say, I think we have undersold how weird this 3T is. Because it's made in
true.
Italy. Made in Italy, got this big tire clearance. It's got the built-in rear light. It's got probably the worst stem design I've seen in recent years. I hate this stem.
I'm glad you
Like,
reminded me of that. It's like
yeah.
the Athos that I complained about, where it's both not. It's not good whether you like internal or external routing.
Yeah.
It's just the worst.
It's got like the down tube storage is magnetized, which is pretty interesting. It's got
No, it's bad.
made in Italy
the down tube
crankset
storage
too.
is
That's
annoying.
designed to be more aero.
Wait.
Like, anyways,
hold on 1 sec, Alvin. I just want to get into what Josh said right there. You said the down tube storage is horrible. What don't you like about it? How could it be improved?
Are you gonna pull us back to like say good things? I was letting Alvin cook, as he likes to say. The down tube storage has a fidlock closure on it, and it's magnetic, and so it magnetically closes, and then you have to do this other thing. I would probably, if I owned this bike, I'm sure I would get used to it, but in the first ride, I was like, "What the hell is that rattling noise?" And I stopped, and I just pulled the whole thing off, and it's because you're supposed to do like an extra little like click down to make it work. I don't know. It's just overly complicated. And then once you opened it, so the down tube is massive. You should have a massive space there, and the cover is pretty big, but there's like the whole underside of the cover is not open. There's like a cover to the, like, it's only partially open, and I don't know. I said in my ride review footage that I don't think you could get a jacket in it. I'm gonna try again, but that's my gold standard. If you can get a jacket in that, and not an emergency jacket, folks, like an actual hard shell jacket, yeah, then I'm fine with it. But I don't know if you can. It's just an awkward sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, Alvin's highlighting, there's all these amazing little details of how weird it is. I love that the brake bolts are shielded. Like, that's just cool to me. I always appreciate that thought. And I actually love the handlebar. This is a handlebar that I had years ago put into a buyer's guide about the best gravel handlebars, because it's weird, and it's super aero, or at least it looks. I don't know. I haven't had a wind tunnel, but it's like crazy bladed up top, and it seems like if you want aero gravel, then it's perfect, except that there's not really a bike that it makes sense on, because what bike doesn't have integrated one-piece bar and stem but is also super aero and needs this? Well, it turns out the bike that it makes the most sense for is the 3T. And what I love about the handlebar is I have a 38, and it flares quite dramatically. So, and the flare comes back pretty far. So some flares, when you go down on the flare and it's like, a small bit wider and it's under the rest of the handlebar, you're like, what is the point of this? I don't need a flare. And then you get on a big flare where it comes way back. You can way shorten your reach, and it's quite wide. And you're like, this is why people want flare. And that's this handlebar. I find it super comfortable.
All right. Well, everybody that's listening, go to the Velo homepage, or go to the YouTube Velo homepage, because you can learn about what Josh thinks about the 3T. Neat looking bike. I think I said a lot of critical things about it, but I will say that it does look pretty cool.
It's slightly melty. but cool.
Slightly
And it
melty.
is-
Yeah.
It is. You in your notes say something about like this sounds like the name sounds like it's a special limited edition Italian thing. It kind of is. It is.
Yeah.
They make it in. I don't know. Do they actually do? So it's RTM like time, right? It's a crazy carbon process that everyone loves. It's painted in Italy for sure. I have to look more to see if it's actually built there, but
Yeah, it
it's a-
is.
it's-
It's
yeah.
done all in factory, all in their one factory in Bolzano. I can't remember in Italy though.
That's super neat sort of backstory to the bike, especially like for someone like myself. I'm in Canada, to have a bike that was made in Italy, painted in Italy. It's got some neat features. I'm trying to turn this around a little bit. It is a neat bike regardless. So anyways,
It's a really cool bike. It's just inherently it's going to come down to this discussion of what you want your gravel bike to be. Is it a road bike or a mountain bike, and where on that spectrum does it lie?
yeah, exactly. It's all on the spectrum, isn't it?
It's a perfect
speaking
bike for
of,
the UCI Gravel World Championships.
Right. Speaking of the gravel spectrum,
Yeah, speaking of the gravel spectrum, Velo's Dave Everett, Shoddy Dave, he was over there to check it out. He has videos from the men's and the women's races, and he also covered a bunch of bikes that the age groupers were using as well, which I found super interesting to see what all these people there are incredible athletes, but the less superhuman people are using that actually have to go and buy their bike. So I thought that was super interesting. The course, Alvin, you called it the Bike Path World Championships.
Yeah, that's kind of, I don't know. I kind of feel like the UCI isn't taking it as seriously as I wish they would, because the terrain tends to be road, I guess. And the people who are there tend to be roadies that ride their gravel bikes twice a year. And
That's
can we turn
exactly
this
what
into
it was.
UCI hate again?
no,
Can we
no,
do that?
no. I'm saying that this is, by all means, I'm not trying to do that, but you see that reflected in the bikes, right? That all these people are coming from like a road background. And so for them, like you see a lot of narrow slicks still. Like it's kind of surprising to see anything wider, but that's also partially because you don't necessarily need that to go wider than like a 45 out there.
It's very much a reflection of European gravel versus North American gravel. You look at a lot of these bikes that these racers are using, and they have, Marion Voss on her Cervelo Aspero, she had a 42, which is actually fairly high volume, but a Corsa Pro on the back.
That's
which
the
is
stock
like,
tire, I should mention. That's
not acceptable. The stock tire. But anyway, that's like a speed tire, like full on, like, that's not going to work.
Tire, I should mention.
It's a great tire. It's a great tire. It also sums up sort of gravel worlds. Very fast course, very fast tires, very road orientated, a lot of road pedals, a lot of very narrow handlebars, stuff like that. So I thought we would just sort of run through what some people were running and chat about it.
Yeah.
Marion Voss, Cervelo Aspero, she had a 45 millimeter Terreno T70 on the front, which is a pretty big meaty tire, relatively speaking, to pair with that Corsa on the back. But interestingly, she was also using the Grava tire pressure system again that she's used before successfully. And on this one, guys, instead of adjusting the tire pressure, she had 3 preset settings, apparently. So she could push a button and it would go, she wouldn't tell us what it was, but it would go to the pressure she wanted. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think that's probably a better way to use that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was the first, I haven't probably paid as much attention to the Grava cap system as I should have, because it's been around for a while, but I'm kind of surprised. Like, this is the first time I'm hearing about the 3 predetermined like tire pressures. That makes a ton of sense.
There's a reason that you haven't paid attention to it. It's because it's mostly useless to regular people, and it's very specific in the way that it can be used. But this actually changes things a little bit, I think.
Yeah, it's cool.
I think it must be quite effective for someone like her and other people to put that on their bikes, because we know racers don't like change just in general. and they don't like change when change happens to weigh more. Exactly, and that definitely does. So for her to put it on the bike, it would be definitely an interesting thing for me to try. I would like to try it. Neat.
I'm sure they'd like you to try it too. So,
I mean, the thing about it is that it doesn't. It's not like you think in your head. You push a button and you get a new pressure. It like very slowly inflates over time because it's using the rotation of the wheel to add air, like as the pump.
How long does it take? Do you know?
I do not know, but it's not fast.
My understanding is it was a
Like
couple
minutes.
minutes. It was like in 5 minutes or something like that. I could be wrong. I'll have to check back on that, but that was my understanding.
Okay. Interesting. Lorena Weebs, S-Works Crux, 40 millimeter Pathfinder tires. Speaking of fast tires.
Perfect name for a tire for that kind of race.
Yeah, exactly. Tiffany Cromwell, too. She had a cool custom painted Canyon Grail that had Aussie slang all over it. Vegemite things and all sorts of other Aussie words that I don't understand. She was using the Schwalbe G1 RSs, 40 on the back, 45 on the front, which seems like it makes a lot of sense. I do want to talk about Tommy's bike, Tom Pidcock, who went from Lombardia the day before, got in a private jet, flew over to the gravel worlds, not on his Scott Addict. So apparently in his contract, anything that's off-road, he's going to be on a Pinarello, and this is off-road. So he was on what is it? The FGR, I think it's called?
The Dogma
swoopy thing?
GR.
Dogma GR is what it's called.
They have two versions. They have that and they have the Gravel F.
Okay.
Yeah.
He told Dave he had never ridden that bike before the race. He rode his practice bike once, and he has never done a gravel race before. His exact words were, "I don't know what pressure to use." I love it.
Why would he? Why would he need to know that?
No.
He's
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen him go down Tuna Canyon in Southern California, like basically blind, and he's one of the greatest descenders out there. I'm sure he's one of the best bike handlers out there too. Like he can coast by. Like,
come on, half the people that you meet just randomly riding don't know what tire pressure they should run either. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, that's what he has mechanics for. He doesn't need to know that shit either. That's not in his. I mean, it could be, but he doesn't need to know it. I want to mention his drivetrain. Single 50-tooth chainring, boys.
Man,
that's what I run all the time. Not you guys. What?
I'm looking at my bike right now. It has a 36 on it. What the heck?
Yeah, I mean, we see that with the Americans too. They'll run a 50-36 or something like that. Up front, if they're doing a Shimano drivetrain, which is he's on Shimano. No, he's on SRAM, isn't he?
No, he's on SRAM. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So he's got the 50.
Actually, that reminds me. The Cervelo S5 comes with a 50 tooth. The gravel. It's probably the same setup then if he's running SRAM. It's a 50 with a 10-46. That's an aero road bike.
He only finished like a minute or two behind first place too, I think. So like, I don't know. UCI should probably look into his gearing right there. Figure out why that happened.
Yeah. Okay, guys, I think we should end there. Everybody that's listening, go check out Dave Everett's coverage from Gravel Worlds. You can go check out Josh's thoughts on the 3T. We should also shout out, Alvin, you are close to posting a Stigmata review?
Long term, 6 months. Have like
long
1,700 months on it. Not quite as long term as you, but I did a lot of stuff on that bike. Got a lot of opinions on it. And long story short, love it. And I'm wondering why more people aren't riding that bike.
We're not going to talk about it in this podcast, but it's funny. Like a lot of people, when they see a Stigmata, they don't think gravel race bike. When I see a Stigmata, I think of freaking Keegan Swenson winning all the things.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a gravel race bike. Sure, the frame weighs, I don't know what the frame weighs, 1,200 grams, 1,300 grams. It's not a light thing. It's got down tube storage, etc. But I mean, doesn't need to be super, super light, apparently.
Yeah, anyways. I'd totally race it. I'd totally race it. And if it was like my backyard that I have here, Mount Diablo in the Bay Area, like that is a fantastic bike for that. We'll see if the Trek checkout's better for that, though.
Yeah. Okay. Next podcast, we're going to talk Stigmata. Hopefully you've got a few rides on that checkout. So maybe we'll do some early ride impressions. So everybody that's listening, come back next episode and maybe we'll talk about that. And as always, like, subscribe, share, do all those things. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next week.